Hello everyone and welcome back to this Football Manager 2017 experiment where we take a look at what happens if every club in the Premier League is fan owned. Now last time we went 12 years into the future and we saw the English teams were absolutely dominating in Europe. And today's part to this experiment is definitely around just proving whether that is a little blip or if it is something that is going to be sustained because of the new ownership at Premier League clubs. Up to this point, pretty much none of the election promises have been kept. So I'm going to stop looking at the individual election promises at this point. We're literally just going to jump forward about 6 years, have a look at the Premier League, how teams are doing, and then also take a look at how they're getting on in Europe, which is the main thing we want to focus on. A few of you agreed that you'd never seen English dominance like this in the Champions League. And if we just have a quick look at the past winners again to refresh our memory, we can see it's currently held by Manchester United, but the overall past winners, Man United, Chelsea, Barca, Chelsea, Man United, Barca, Chelsea, Man United, Barca, Arsenal, Real Madrid. That is crazy. I mean, Chelsea and Manchester United absolutely destroying the Champions League at the moment. So we're going to just go forward, see if this continues. It's worth noting that Chelsea have actually beaten finalists 4 times. They've been in there 7 times now. So we'll go forward. We'll have a look at how they're doing in the league, the FA Cup, all that sort of stuff. And then we'll take a look at how they're doing in Europe. Well, we are now 6 years further into the future. It's 2034 and we're just going to work our way through the different competitions, looking at who the past winners have been, starting with the EFL Cup, where in the last 6 years they've all been big teams winning the competition. Originally the likes of Burnley and Stoke managed to get a victory in there, but since then it's been the big teams dominating every year, which is something that doesn't normally happen in this competition. It's usually dotted with quite a lot of smaller teams in there, but at the moment it's just the big teams establishing total dominance. And if we take a look at the FA Cup as well, you can see the same thing is happening there. Sunderland won it last time out, Leicester also got a win in there, but once more it's the big teams getting the victory. Spurs also winning an FA Cup in there. They won the first one of this experiment and they've won another one now. Now, when we left off last time in the Premier League, Chelsea won it by 11 points over Arsenal. There were no real surprises except for West Brom consistently finishing 7th. Everton and West Ham struggling down the bottom end of the league. The following season, again, Chelsea won the league, but only on goal difference, with Liverpool just 2 points behind. I think it's the second time we've seen a tight finish like that. West Brom dropping down to 10th in the table, and West Ham and Everton both recovering. The year after that, Liverpool won it with the same goal difference. How's that happened? They've also not won as many games. They've lost less games, but you've got the same number of points, same number of goal difference. They've scored one more goal. I think it's done on the goals scored, isn't it? Maybe because they scored one more goal than Chelsea. They've won the league. That is a fantastic finish to the Premier League. Arsenal and Man United not far off either. A very tight top sort of finish to the table. West Brom again getting 7th. The year after that, Chelsea did win the league, 2 points clear of Liverpool. Again, really close at the top, 3 points between the top 4. Man United only 6 points off there. West Brom dropping well down. Burnley, Brighton and Villa all getting relegated. The year after that, Manchester United, the winners, 4 points clear. This is the most competitive outcome in the Premier League I've ever seen. West Brom actually finishing 6th, getting a new peak there. And the following year, Manchester United winning the league again, 6 points clear of Chelsea. Not quite as close this time. Manchester United doing very well with their points total. And then this season just gone, Manchester United did win the title again. Spurs 2nd, reasonably close once more. West Brom nearly getting relegated down there after doing so well for so long. But if we take a look at the past winner screen, you can see Chelsea had this big period of dominance, just missing out to Liverpool on that ridiculously close finish in the league table. But they were dominant for a very long time, but it's now returned to Manchester United, who've won it 3 times in a row. After a long time without one, actually, about a decade without a title, they've managed to come back and win the title 3 years in a row. So hopefully this means that we've got quite a few teams being competitive in Europe. But let's start with the Europa League. So we're going to start with the Europa League. We're going to look at the quarter-final stage and then go from there. I mean, this year only Spurs made the semi-finals, and then Inter and Leverkusen in the final. Inter winning the tournament. The year after that, Manchester United made the final alongside CSKA in Moscow, and Manchester United were beaten in that final. That is a surprising outcome. Then Spurs and West Brom in the semi-final. Spurs were the ones to face Bayern in the final, but lost to Bayern Munich. A bit of a curse occurring here on English teams. No English team the year after that. I'd imagine this went to Leverkusen. The year after that, Chelsea and Spurs both in the final. Spurs winning it on penalties. In the semis, they were the only English teams in there. And then in the season just gone, Everton, Liverpool and West Brom in there as well. West Brom actually have won this competition a couple of times, it's worth remembering. But a Merseyside derby in the Europa League final, and Everton won it. Everton beat Liverpool in the Europa League final, which means that when we look at the past winners, the last two have both been English, but Everton getting their first win in the Europa League. I'm not sure if they've ever won it before. I don't think they have. No, they've never won that, and they've stopped Liverpool winning another European competition, which they will thoroughly enjoy, I am sure. So the next one is the Champions League. Well, in the Champions League, we're going to start with the quarter-final stage, and as you can see, 5 English teams in the quarter-finals of the Champions League, and 3 of them have gone through. It could have been 4 had Arsenal beaten Dortmund, but 3 English teams making it into the semi-final of the Champions League. Chelsea and United both making it to the final, Liverpool getting knocked out, and in the final, Chelsea did win the Champions League again, another English victory in there. The year after that, 3 English teams in the quarterfinals. 2 of them went out. Arsenal, though, the last hope of the English teams in a difficult semi-final grouping, but they beat Dortmund and Barca beat Real Madrid, and in the final, a repeat of the 2006 final, I think, Arsenal did beat Barcelona. Arsenal win the Champions League on penalties. Another English victory in the Champions League. The year after that, 4 English teams in the quarterfinals, all 4 of them make the semi-finals, and all English semi-final in the Champions League. I don't know if any nation has ever had all 4 semi-final places in the Champions League. I don't think they ever have, so this could be the first time that's happened. Manchester United and Chelsea, the 2 big clubs really in England in this save, both making the final, and it goes to Manchester United this time on penalties. The following year we have again 4 English teams in there, and they all could have gone through yet again. This time PSG and Real Madrid getting through on penalties. That's the only thing stopping all English dominance. And in the semi-finals, it's Manchester United who go through along with PSG, and the winner was PSG. They break that English dominance in the final. The following year, again, 4 English teams in there. 3 of them make the semi-finals, and it's an all-Manchester derby in the final, and it goes to Manchester United beating City in the final of the Champions League. And then the season just gone, again 5 English teams in the quarter-final, 3 of them making the semi-final, where Real Madrid and Manchester City were the teams to go to the final, and Real Madrid did win it. But this English dominance in Europe is absolutely incredible. In the, I think it's 18 seasons we've had now since this experiment started, and there's only been 6 of those where an English team didn't win the Champions League. But I think every single final has had an English team in there except for the first one. Oh no, there's 2 finals here, I think, where there wasn't an English team in there. I have never seen dominance like this before by English clubs in the Champions League, and from the sounds of it, I don't think any of you ever have. Normally it's the Spanish teams who dominate here. Juventus and PSG will also win a lot. PSG will certainly win a lot, but in this one they've only made the final twice. So it's absolutely crazy the amount of dominance happening for English teams in this competition. Now it is going to be the end of this experiment. The outcome of this experiment, it didn't look clear in the beginning, but it's very clear now that it has led to English teams just exceeding expectations in Europe. Maybe the threat of elections every 3 years is making owners prioritise the Champions League and winning the biggest competition in club football. But it is hard to know that for sure. It could just be a lucky, which is why I wanted to do this extra part to the experiment, just to see if that luck continued. And it definitely did, with 4 more Champions League titles for English clubs, and for 3 different English clubs as well. It's not just like it's the same team over and over and over again. But drop a like on the video if you found this interesting and if you're surprised by the number of wins in the Champions League for English teams. Subscribe to the channel. I've got a really good experiment lined up next, which I think all of you will enjoy. That'll be coming out in a couple of days' time. But until next time, see ya.